Why do, Buckaroo, and welcome back to welcome back to Cocktail Hour to Beer Whisper. So what I have here is I've got 1.5 ounces of this Midnight Moon American Oak Cask whiskey. It's 90 proof. Reading just a little bit from their bottle. It's out of Madison, North Carolina, distilled from corn, rye, and barley. A blend of aged bourbon and light whiskey with notes of spice, walnut, and caramel. Yeah, it's very nice. I've had it neat. I've had it rocks. I've had it in cocktails. But I'm doing another cocktail here with you. Sort of a version of a martini. It's sort of a dirty martini. Well, a dirty martini typically uses olive juice. I didn't have olive juice to use. But I did have two blue cheese stuff olives. So what I have is 1.5 ounces of this whiskey, about a half dozen dashes of orange bitters, and here I have a cocktail. Call it anything you want. You just chilled as any sort of a martini should be. That's very nice. This is a very smooth, easy drinking whiskey at 90 proof. I meant to buy me some olives so I could make an actual dirty martini, but then I forgot. I was going down the aisle and I got sidetracked. But I have these very good blue cheese stuffed martinis. Blue cheese stuffed olives. The problem is that they are in oil, so I actually had to rinse them. You could still see a little oil on top of my drink, but it's not enough to affect the taste. But I can't use it as olive juice, you understand me? So here's how my day went today, man. After 20 years, I decided to play fantasy football. Oh, I had a friend talk me into doing a league in '97. I hadn't done one since, because I just don't get into that sort of thing. I think it's ridiculous. And I just don't have that kind of time. A lot of these guys just spend a lot of time and energy on it, and I just don't have. I got too many other things going on to worry about that. But yeah, the same friend talked me into doing it this year. He asked me last year, and I didn't do it. These flies are brutal. Might have to go inside. Anyway, bottom line, I did the fantasy football, did the draft. I got laughed at for my picks, so we'll see. My only goal is to stay in the last place, but I think that's going to be easier said than done too, because I clearly had no idea what I was doing. I want to thank Frank and his son Gage and all their friends for inviting me in. It's very nice. It's just nice to be included sometimes, even at my old age.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Wife and I moved in here a couple months ago. It's nice, we've got nice young neighbors on each side of us. I think they're all wondering why these old people are the old people move in for. But anyway, yeah, the situation we were in at the time, we just needed something reasonable. The rent is reasonable. And it was a different neighborhood. I think we just need to get out of our old neighborhood. There's just too many memories, both good and bad, that we just had to get away from. We tried so hard to save the house, keep the house, but at some point it just became almost like a prison, to be honest with you. But I'm happy to reconnect with a lot of old friends. Frank's been a good friend of mine for 20 years, and he knows, everything we've been through. So, and him and his wife, Lou, have done a lot to help us. So it's been very nice. But anyway, back to the football. It was just nice to be included. Came home. I started the grill up, so here's what we're going to do. I got my grill warming up right now. I'm going to put some taters on there. We wanted some baked taters. So a few weeks ago, we found a nice pork tenderloin marked down. So we picked it up, put it in the freezer. But so here's what I did with it today is while it was still frozen, or more or less, I had it defrosting overnight, but it was still semi-frozen. So here's what I did with it: is I marinated it for 2 hours in some Moon Monkey, an ale with ginger from Urban Chestnut, along with some other herbs, spices, and seasonings for about 2 hours. And I took it out, dried it off, rolled it in some herbs, and then I cut it in medallions because it was still frozen enough to cut clean medallions. So I'm going to put some potatoes on there, so we're going to have some nice baked potatoes from the grill, and then I'm just going to grill those pork medallions rather than, grilling a whole pork tenderloin. I'm doing the medallions that are just going to take minutes to cook. So let me finish my my cocktail here before it warms up on me. See that bug try to get into my drink, that little bastard. I want to chill my cocktail down again, actually. There we go. Rubbed it back through some ice. Now I'll finish it. Yeah, the flies are crazy out here today. I'm gonna have to got a candle. I'm gonna have to light. Yes. Anyway, hey, I am Tom the Beer Whisperer. Here's the thing, and I've said this over and over again. And I wrote an article on my Tom the Beer Whisperer.com site about just have a beer and a smile. Sometimes we all get dealt bad things. I mean, bad things happen to everybody. I get frustrated with folks that think they have it worse than anybody else. My wife and I have been through some hardships. We lost our son to cancer. We recently lost our house to foreclosure. Shit happens to everybody. You can either take those situations and use it as an excuse to get bitter, or use it as a reason to be stronger. My wife and I both chose to use it as a reason to keep moving forward. So whenever you hear someone say, well, I used to be nice, but then this happened, or I used to not hate that group of people, but then they did this to me. No, they didn't do that to you. One particular person did that to you. So that's not an excuse to hate a certain religion or a certain group of people because of, one person's actions. We all make decisions. You made a decision to be an asshole. And then you're using that as an excuse. We all have bad things happen to us. Use it as a reason to be a good person rather than a bad one. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer tonight, the Cocktail Whisperer. Cocktail Evangelist. Prolific cocktail drinker, purveyor, wisdom, all around good guy.